Nigeria's creative industry stakeholders are calling on the federal government to match its promises with action. It comes after the government announced plans to grow the nation's creative economy to over $100 billion by the year 2030. The roadmap will also see the federal government increase the budget for the Ministry of Arts, Culture and Creative Industry by 400%. Joining us now is Faiz Imam, Principal Advisor to Nigeria's Minister of Arts, Culture and Creative Economy. Good morning. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning. Thank you very much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Great. Well, the minister yesterday unveiled this roadmap for developing the creative economy, moving it from 2.5% of GDP to 10% of GDP by 2030. But the question is, tell us more about Destination 2030, Nigeria everywhere, which is the slogan. And then is there a policy in place? Because it's one thing to have a plan, it's another thing to have a policy. Do we have a cultural policy guiding this?
Yeah, thank you. Thank you very much, Dr. Abati. Yes, Destination 2030 is an initiative to expand Nigeria's creative economy to $100 billion, like you said, by 2030, and also to expand Nigeria's cultural influence over that same period. It's a very bold vision. We recognize that it will be very challenging, but His Excellency the President, our Honorable Minister, are committed to delivering this vision, and we believe that we will be able to achieve these objectives. We have benchmarked these goals by looking at comparable countries like Brazil, where the GDP from the creative economy there in an absolute term is $60 billion. They have a comparable population to Nigeria of 200 million, and that GDP constitutes about 5% of the total GDP of the country. So we believe that, this is possible. You mentioned 2.5% of the GDP. Based on our baseline right now, that GDP contribution is probably around 1%. We are working with the National Bureau of Statistics. In fact, we met with the Statistician General yesterday to discuss a very expansive program where we create a thorough baseline and a robust data, a very robust database that will allow us to be clear on where we are in terms of the numbers, in terms of employment, so that we can shape our policies, appropriately. We have also benchmarked our target with the telecom sector and what happened in the telecom sector between 2003 and 2023, based on a number of initiatives, including, of course, mobile phone, very importantly, regulation. That sector grew by 320 times over the last 20-year period. So we believe that we can move the creative economy from where it is today at a modest 1% to 2.5% to the 10%, even though this is obviously, like I said, we recognize it's a stretch target, and it also has macroeconomic considerations, which we're fully aware of.
So let's talk about actionable timelines to achieving this, because it's not just the grand vision, but in piecemeal, what are you going to be doing? I see that you've interfaced with those in the sector in the first phase. So what are the other things you will be doing in tandem with actionable, like smart, articulated ideas and goals?
Okay, so thank you very much. And that is it's a very important question. It's critical, of course. So this is a new ministry, and it's not even 100 days old. So we are doing a host of things to get to actionable initiatives. A host of things need to be done. First, the ministry needs to be set up, and the minister is working on putting together an organization and an operational model that will be as efficient as the private sector, so that that organization and institution can deliver the actionable initiatives that you've talked about. At the same time, we are engaging stakeholders to understand the needs of the space. We have been engaging them in groups. We have been engaging them one-on-one. And I believe that our ministry and our minister is the most accessible minister, or at least one of the most accessible ministers today in the federal government. Her doors are open, and she listens to all stakeholders. It's really very important to connect with our constituency, to understand the needs as we try to shape these actionable initiatives. In addition to this, there needs to be a team, that is, while all this needs to be done, in a perfect situation, you would start by building your institution, then you would start to work on actionable initiatives. But we understand, Mr. President understands, that there is a need to move quick, because Nigerians are impatient, things are very challenging, and we need to deliver. So the Honorable Minister is working flat out, 18-hour days to do all the things that I mentioned to you in parallel. So an institution is being built. At the same time, the minister is engaging with her team, with stakeholders. She has appointed a very strong team of special advisors, people like Baba Agba, who are very, very knowledgeable in film and music, people like Sheun Oduole, who delivered the Yoruba Center of Culture in Lagos, at J.K. Randall, you might have seen that, so that she has the right advisors to shape the plans. There's also global advisors that are on the minister's team, BCG, EY, and a host of others. Locally, we have, people that are specialists in certain areas like L&A firm, who have a couple of professors that are very knowledgeable on IP, and they are ultimately they're supporting a development of a clear, robust IP program. So all of these ultimately are developing initiatives and identifying existing initiatives that can be supported. So let's start with policy. Very important. We are reviewing all the extant legislation right now that exists, Cultural Policy Endowment Act, the Creative Economy Bill. With the support of the NESG, we are looking to formulate a clear, coherent bill that will transform into legislation to support the sector. At the same time, we're working on IP protection. IP protection is central to this space. And we're working on IP protection, we're looking at IP securitization, and we're looking at the commercialization of Nigeria's national IP from a revenue perspective. We are looking at, or we have started, we have defined a human capital development program called the Creative Leap Acceleration Program, which is looking to equip and train 1 million creatives and provide them with the skills that they require to succeed. We are talking to universities on developing center. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
We seem to have run out of time. I would have loved us to go on and on and on.
What a shame.
Particularly to talk about
yes,
private sector engagement, how you're engaging the private sector, and also the stakeholders in the industry. Oftentimes we tend to forget the stakeholders, within the industry, but maybe another time we'll look at other issues. Thank you very much, Faiz, Imam. for joining us, and our regards to Hannatu Musawa, the minister.